In my last video, I explained that the spiritual ladder to help us all get out of the pit is humility. So I thought I would do a few teachings on the subject of humility. God's purpose in creating us is that so that He could impart to us His perfection and His blessedness, and so show forth the glory of His wisdom, power, and love. He wanted to reveal Himself in and through His created beings. But it wasn't for us to possess something of ourselves. God upholds all things, and He is in whom all things exist. So our relation to Him should be unceasing, unending dependence. Our job is to present ourselves as an empty vessel in whom God can dwell and manifest His power and goodness. Humility is the very dependence on God for all things. And when we can humble ourselves to become fully dependent on God, then we can attain the highest type of virtue and come into the current of heaven. And so if humility is truly the highest virtue, the way that we come into alignment with God, then pride is the loss of this humility and the root of all sin and evil. Satan, his angels, and our first parents all suffered under the consequences of operating out of pride, trying to be as God. And so humility is a way for us to right ourselves before God. And we follow in the example of Jesus, who humbled Himself to become a man and then humbled Himself to die on a cross. His humility is our salvation. And so our lives as believers must be marked with a stamp of humility. Without humility, there is no true abiding in His graces, of His presence, of His power, and of His favor. A lack of humility is the explanation for every defect and failure. Humility allows us to take the right attitude before God and allow Him as God to do all. Humility is simply acknowledging our place as a creature and yielding to God His place. This leaves God the freedom to be everything for you. Meekness and lowliness of heart were the distinguishing features of Jesus. And so as believers, we should be marked in that same way. Humility is not something that just comes on us of itself. Humility must be sought after and desired and prayed for and practiced, because humility is not natural to us. Sin and pride is natural to us. But as we begin to look at the scriptures that develop the humility of Jesus, I am sure that you will want to align yourselves with Him and who He is, so that you can conquer pride in your life and receive the spiritual ladder that humility will extend to you. There is a book that I'm using to do these teachings that I read 3 years ago that helped to change everything for me. And it is Humility by Andrew Murray, written a long time ago. So you can search it on Google and pick up a free copy, download a free copy. It's just an excellent resource, so deep and rich. And so I thought I would just summarize it here to make it a little easier for those who would have trouble reading it and understanding it. And so for a quick summary of this lesson today, humility is good. It helps us to come into right relationship with God. Pride is bad, and it causes our relationship to God to be broken and allows curses and destruction to come our way. So let's pray. Lord, I humble myself before you. I have nothing and I am nothing. Lord, work your will into me. Make me into your image. Help me to look just like you. And then let Him begin that process of working humility into you.